Welcome to Artini, where whimsical art documentaries and wild art history meets happy hour. I'm your host, Kim Ratliff, an artist in Hawaii. Grab your cocktail and hunker down with me for this solo shot. Welcome to Artini, a new year and a new season. I'm Kim Ratliff, your host, and this is where we gather to talk about art history, and this is where art history meets happy hour. Actually, my drink's way over here. I have a fruity gin drink today. So let's see. I hope everyone had a happy new year. This season, I'll be doing a lot of single shots like this one. And then we'll be doing some collaborative discussions like a happy hour with other artists and maybe some non-artists as well, because I think it's still fun and interesting to get like the art appreciators' point of view on some of these things as well. Because we all have like the inside knowledge of all the terms and all the things, but it's nice to hear what other people say. All right, so I have notes because I can't survive by myself without notes. So today's single shot that I'm talking about is about Minted on Netflix documentary. Now, Minted is about NFTs. Now, half of you were excited, and the other half of you just hissed like angry cats. And I'm probably part of that second group. This came up a long time ago, and I didn't even know about this till I think it was during COVID, like 2020. Yeah, I think it was 2020 when this came about. And I'm asking my brother, who's a tech guy, and I'm like, what? And my kids, and they were trying to explain to me. And even after watching this, I still don't get it. My whole perspective is, we'll see. All right. So anyway, so The Minted is directed by Nicholas Bruckman. And it's a 77-minute watch, so it's not too bad, and it's on Netflix. And let's see, it explores like the dramatic rise and then the crash of it. And at the top of its game, it was like 40 billion or something like that. It was crazy, like artists, collectors involved, and whatever. Some definitions like it, I don't know. It's not more two definitions really, but I don't know. NFT is a non-fungible token. So this film talks about how digital art entered mainstream via these non-fungible tokens, and then they were stored and traded in a world that's on a blockchain that verified digital ownership. And like, I guess it was called minting, that is specific to digital work. And wait, hang on. That's I wrote a note on here. I wrote a note. I wrote a note. No, maybe I didn't write a note. This blockchain is like where it all lives. And I guess they would use Bitcoin to purchase these, and then you would receive Bitcoin for the purchase. I think how it worked was that the artist, so so the artist name was recognized as whatever the digital art was, and it's attached to it, and it's verified, and it's authenticated, and it's kept in the blockchain thing, right? And so every time someone you have that initial purchase, and at the height of it, I mean, we're talking thousands, millions of dollars. People are buying these, like, it's ridiculous, I think. But so they buy these little things, and then every time it was traded to either for that person, the collector, to make more money or whatever, or to clear up their collection to free up money or whatever, they would sell it, or they would call it trading. They would trade it for Bitcoin to someone else. And every time it gets traded, because it's authenticated and attached to the artist gets paid like a royalty every time it changes hands. So, I mean, I can get excited about that. That is a very excitable concept, because with manual art, you sell your original art piece, and goes to a beautiful new home and you're happy to see it go. But then, like, later on, and you don't like, this is stuff you behind, like, after, like, you don't even know, it could, like, be sold to somebody else for even more or less. I don't know, like, you don't really know what happens to the painting. I mean, like, for live artists. Anyway, I mean, it's, yeah. And this is a way of, like, and you can keep track of, like, who owns it and stuff. So it's interesting, but it's anyway. So those are, like, that's how it works. So with the boom of this, this guy, oh, here is my note. It's like right here. It says 2014 by Kevin McCoy. He created Quantum, which is kind of, I think it's like the colored coins on the blockchain. So that's like how this concept of, like, digital art and product on Bitcoin was started. I can't, yeah. All right. So A, I'm an artist. B, I got ADHD. And also, like, this concept of this, it's like a floating world or something. I just can't, I don't know. I'm doing my best to interpret this documentary for you. So the first Bitcoin, all right. So this guy, not Bitcoin, so this guy, Michael Winkelmann, and he goes by Beeple. And I think his was the first NFT. Yeah, his was the first NFT to be auctioned off at Christie's. So this gave NFTs. I need a drink for that. Hang on. So this gave NFTs some validity. I mean, Christie's is a very vetted and serious auction platform, and it sold for $69 million. And I didn't print up a picture of it or anything, but I mean, you can go look it up. It says here that his NFT Every Days, I guess, is called the work is called Every Days, and then yeah, you can look that up. His name again is Michael Winkelmann, our people. Anyway, other artists though, on the pro side, they had profited and had good experiences from this. And it's artists that lived, like, in rural or like very remote parts of the world. We're talking like Africa and Latin America and some parts of the US. And so their digital art is being seen, or I mean, it could also be a photo of a handmade art. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can give that medium some props into that. Anyway, so it was getting them, like, global exposure. And then people are paying, like, thousands of dollars. So, like, what if you lived in a small village someplace and, you were just selling your artwork like we normally do, and it's slow going and, whatnot. And then all of a sudden this comes up, and all of a sudden your artwork can get, like, global eyeballs. And in this particular medium, they're paying thousands of dollars. So this money is, like, changing the lives and improving the lives of, like, many people that normally would not have that type of financial opportunities to better their lives in that way. So, I mean, it is good for people. It was good for people in that bracket there. Let me see here. Yeah, so this is like a whole, immersion of, like, art meets tech and in the commerce market. And, there's Christie's has evolved now, but I don't think they created this environment. It's unstable. And so, there's a lot of speculation in the market. And then who's the demographic? People don't really understand this. And then how much space is on a blockchain, So the more and more people digital artists that are doing this, there's more storage needed, and then the trading and the people online. So, like, a blockchain, their energy usage is very important from what I understand, but I still don't exactly understand the heck a blockchain is. And then there's like cases of fraud, people copying and trying to, like replicate stuff. I don't know about the authorization. I haven't even looked at the, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works. I am techie, but I'm not, that's deep tech. I don't know. And then there's a sustainability, NFTs. Like I feel it, they're like, is it a fad or is it a new art frontier? I didn't even learn of this game, this whole thing until like 19, I mean, 19, 2020, 2021. And I thought for sure it was just a fad. And it kind of is down now. They had a crash. There was this huge crash right around that time that I just learned about it. And then I was like, oh, good. I'm not missing the boat on anything because this is like bizarre even to stumble across and learn what this is. So the crash covers, let's see, yeah, the prices, there were price collapse, and investors and the interest in the NFTs declined, and people were losing money, and all these artists weren't making as much money, and there were less people online like bidding and trading and whatnot. Reflection of future, I wrote. So some artists still value this Web3 tool. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that, but I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just the what they use. The conversation around digital ownership continues. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's interesting that all the artists would get a royalty every time, kind of like when you sell a record, every time you sell a record. I mean, I guess in the big picture, a manual artist still gets royalties per se. I mean, you get paid every time you sell a print of the original. So that's kind of like, but it's a fresh print of the original. All right, I don't know. Now I feel like I just talked myself in a circle. I'm going too far beyond my comprehension. All right, so let's see. So at the peak of this whole crazy thing, NFTs were being sold for, I don't know if it's some or one, but like $40 billion was the NFT market at its height. And the largest amount of money paid to a living artist from Christie's for an NFT went for $69 million. And it looks like something, like they said in the documentary, somebody said in the documentary, it looks like something you could just like right click and save to your computer or something. Yeah, crazy. I mean, it was good that it said that like people got recognition and that people in remote, poor financial statuses were thriving and achieving like life adult goals and financial goals and living better lives. And hopefully they made enough money during that small time period to do something with it, to continue it in other ways. And then, yeah, this whole blockchain thing. I mean, the pro of it is that it does protect royalties and stuff for an authentication for the artist, and it keeps moving on as it changes hands. It gives a platform for expressing art in, interactive multimedia ways. It embraces that. But like the cons are like that the environment is unstable and people are making fakes, or they're trying to, or I don't know what the ins and outs of knowing, but they're trying to make fakes. So if somebody can make a fake, then um how much can we trust this authentication process? And then there's like risks in the blockchain because there's so much it's like high energy, and so many people are on there, and like what if there's risks of unstable storage. What if something happens and then like all the NFT art that's on a blockchain disappears? Who knows? And then what are the ramifications of that? Like what's the protocol for something? I don't know. So the world is like, traditional art institutes are, they're unconvinced about this lasting long and having relevance. And I'm kind of like on their side. I just like from the beginning, I'm like, first of all, I'm like, I don't know what this is. Then when I try to understand what that was, it was like, ugh. And then sure enough, collapsed. It pooped out. I think it's still active, but it's not as strong, and I don't know if there's any art on it. I think they're using it to like I know one thing that they're using the blockchain to authenticate like high-end luxury items and stuff like that. I don't know how that works, but I know it's still being used. All right, so let me see what I have here on my closing things. It says, from the artist's point of view, there's access and potential revenue. You get all these eyeballs on you. Economic, it's just this like little bubble and it's confusing hype cycle. I don't know. And then, the culture, this place their place in art history is like still unstable. I think this thing is like a blip in art history, and who knows? And yeah, the movie does go around, yeah, like at the end goes through the pros and cons and stuff. But yeah. So I think that's it for this shot of with minted, and you can go, I'll put all the links in the show notes and whatnot. You can go watch it and then look up on GPT chat like what's a blockchain and who this guy is and what did that art look like and stuff like that. And then let me say my closing stuff, my usual. I don't think some of these this doesn't pertain to this because this is like a concept documentary. It's not really this whole thing. Yeah. Would you hang out with the artist? Yeah. Do you think their studio what do you think their studio vibe is? Would you not borrow something? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's not about a person. My normal closing stuff, but I didn't, and I don't think I will participate. Didn't I was curious for a second, and then I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" Once I got explanations, I have had, I think it's like 4 or 5 email inquiries if I was interested it wasn't even selling. It was like, I guess selling a piece of my art as an NFT to someone so that they can, or so they could sell it and use it on there. And I was like, no, because so what happens is when you participate with this, that NFT like belongs to that person or whoever bought it. So even though you're getting royalties every time it changes hands, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. It was royalties, authorizations. Shit, what is this? What is that? So, oh yeah, so you own it. Oh yeah, you can't just because like if you sell an original right to someone like an original manual canvas if I have one right here. All right, so I don't know, this one's a blank board, but like I sold this to someone, but I can take a photo of this and then I can make prints and still make money off of it. On an NFT, you can't do that part of it. It gets sold to someone else, and then you only get royalties every time it's traded. Yeah, all these rules and stuff is all stupid. I don't know. Good luck. I don't even know if you even understood any of this episode. And on that, cheers to a new year. Cheers to a new season. Cheers to new art relations and new stories and episodes. So thank you for listening to my shot. Subscribe, share, follow. Send me your questions and suggestions. Comment on these. You can comment and share your thoughts in our social medias and Instagram and Facebook. We can talk about in those areas, like what you guys thought about certain episodes and whatnot. And till next time, mahalo.